I am back with another one for you guys. I hope you all miss me. It is a beautiful, beautiful New York evening slash night. As you guys can see behind me is dark, but the weather is also very, very windy. So if the camera's shaking, please, please bear with me. I literally have like 3 pieces of cardboard behind the camera trying to stop the wind, so I've done my part. I'm going to give you guys great content regardless, and today's topic is cultural assimilation. Now, I'm going to approach the whole topic from the African perspective, specifically Kenyan, because I am Kenyan. And I'm going to get right into it and not waste any of you guys' time. I think that this topic is important, but it's also funny on one aspect. There's a cringe side to cultural assimilation. But let me go ahead and give you guys what that definition is. So, cultural assimilation. Cultural assimilation is the process where individuals or groups from one culture adopt the cultural patterns of another, often dominant culture. Now, the things that are adopted usually fall under topics like language, values, beliefs, and social. What is that? Social customs. I'm gonna try to break those down for you, but it's getting extra windy. Please don't be shaking. Oh man, my cardboard is about to fall. Please don't fall. Yo, the stuff I do for YouTube, y'all better like this. All right, like I said, the things that are usually adopted culturally or assimilated are language, values, beliefs, and social customs. When you think of, for example, an African who may come from a French country and they move to America, you would expect them that they should learn English. I don't agree with people who've been in America for like 50 years and don't know how to speak English. Unless you're like a grandma and you move here as a grandma, you have like 10 years left on Earth. You don't need to learn a new language. But if you're young, you should learn English, right? Values. Let's say you come from a country where women and men are not equal. America, women and men are equal. So those are such values that you would often have to adopt. And that can also come, no, that would be a belief. That would fall under beliefs. The belief that men and women are equal. But then values would be something like, let's say, for example, in Africa, we concentrate heavy on family and community. In America, it's more of an individualistic society. Not saying that there's no community or no family here, but for the majority of people you find, like in a city like New York, everyone's pretty much on their own path. Everyone's focused on their own thing, and they're on their own road. So you would most likely adopt to certain things like that. You may not be able to form a community as easily, so you kind of become the individualistic person as well. Now, there's also social customs. Let's say, for example, socially here, it's customary for men to, who knows, hold doors for women and children or pay on the first date. Those are, what's it called? Social customs that you would adopt. In your country, maybe women pay the first date. But here, men usually pay the first date or whatever. So, things that you would adopt. Now, I want to approach this on two aspects. There's the cringe side, and then there's the okay, you've assimilated like you're expected to. Now, let me go a little bit further. While often viewed as a way to integrate into a new society, assimilation can also be a source of stress and loss of identity. Hear that again. Assimilation can also be a source of stress and loss of identity for the individual undergoing the process. That's where the cringe side comes in my opinion. The loss of identity part, right? Now let me explain this for you guys, just so you guys can understand how I see this. When you move from another country to America, I do expect you to understand the language and be able to interact and mingle with people. Just normal things that you would expect someone to do, right? Now, the cringe side of it comes out when, for example, let's rewind. When I was younger, growing up here, I had a pretty strong Kenyan community. I knew most of the kids around me, the Kenyan kids, and how they grew up. I knew the beliefs and the values that were taught at home. I saw them get beat by their parents at home, so I knew the type of nonsense that their parents would tolerate or not tolerate. But let Jimmy get to school and run into this same kid. At times, you would be like, hold up. You, and then you see them in school, and they're a whole different person. They're like straight hoodlums, straight from the trenches, acting like something that they are absolutely not. That to me was always cringe because I'm like, bro, bro, I know you. I know you. I know the real you. I know the food you eat every night for dinner. I know that your parents would beat your butt for doing the things that you're doing. But in school, oh nah, they're acting like Trayvon from the block who wants to sell you a rock. Da, 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 da. You guys get the point, right? Now, that is the cringe side of assimilation for me. Because what's interesting is a lot of what Africans who come here assimilate to is usually African American culture. Reason being is African Americans are the dominant black people in America. Yes, there's a lot of Africans here. There's Kenyans, there's Nigerians, there's Ghanaians, and at the end of the day, we don't even touch the numbers of African Americans that there are. I think that in total there's like 40 something million African Americans, but probably a few million Africans, right? So, what's different about most other countries when they come here compared to Africans is that when you think of an Indian who comes to America, they usually live in a house with like 8 other Indians until they get on their feet, and then they'll assimilate with their Indian culture. The Chinese do the same. The Hispanic do the same. Africans come here and we adopt the African American culture instead of what other Africans here have been doing. A lot of the times, is what I've seen, right? So I've seen the cringe side of it in school where it's like, bro, I know you, Billy. I know you, Billy. That's not you. This caricature that you're putting out of this like tough street kid, it's not you, right? So I wanted to approach it and show that there's that one cringe side, but at the same time, you have the normal Africans who come here and assimilate, and you'll hear them talking, you'll see them interacting with people, and you're just like, oh, you're just another American, right? I could tell you're African, but you're just another American the way you act. But then you'll have this cringe one where it's like, I could tell you're African, but why are you trying to act hood, bro? And the reason I call it cringe is because you could see a real person from the hood, a real person from different places in America, whatever they're trying to imitate. You could see the real version, and then you could see the impersonation that they're putting on, and it just doesn't deliver right. The way that they talk, you'll see like a fresh off the boat Nigerian come here and it's like, yo man, you know, they got the bubble coats on, they got the Jordans, they got the skinny jeans and all, and I'm like, cool, if that's your style, that's okay. But when you start carrying yourself like something that you're not, to me that's where it becomes cringe. So I wanted to throw this topic out there to ask the audience, have you noticed what I'm talking about? The cringe and the normal side of assimilation. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, what's it called, Africans or other people should come here and not adapt to American culture. By all means, when in Rome, do as the Romans to an extent, right? I'm not saying get rid of everything you left with, but that's what actually happens. So, where's my paper? Did I lose the paper? There was actually, what's it called? Did I read that part? The actual formal definition of cultural assimilation, it says assimilation is a form of acculturation where individuals or groups give up their own cultural traits and adopt those of a different, usually dominant culture. So, like I explained, a lot of Africans come here. Some will retain their culture, and some will try to get rid of any trace of what ties them back to home. You can see them in their face. You can see their facial features and be like, bro, you are straight out the jungle in Cameroon. I know that for a fact. But they'll sit there. Back in my day, it wasn't cool to be African. So you would find kids in school where it's like, I know you're from the jungle, bro. And then they'll tell you, nah, bro, my mom's Jamaican and my dad's African American. But they're saying it with an African accent. And you know your mother is not Jamaican. You know your father is not this. So to me, it was always cringe. Now, I wanted to ask the audience, is it fair to necessarily, I don't want to say judge, but judge people who do that, people who try to stray as far away from their culture and not have any ties to where they come from? Is it fair to judge that person when they're simply trying to fit in? it's okay to fit in. Like you're expected to fit in. You wouldn't expect someone to carry themselves like they're still in Nigeria while they're here in America. You wouldn't expect a Kenyan to still act like they're in Kenya while they're in America. No, act like where you are. But to what extent does it go too far? To what extent does that assimilation go too far? And then the sad part is the things that we adopt that are usually cringe are usually the worst parts of African American culture. I don't want this video to be this idea of that's all African American culture is. No, the sad part is what's actually advertised of African American culture and what's picked up by most Africans who come here is usually the negative side of things. That's why even when you go to Africa and you meet other Africans, they'll think that most African Americans are hood, is because that's what a lot of media pumps out, which is sad. So my theory is that like when some of those people who come here and try to assimilate, they're going through the same process of thinking like, oh, so this is how I'm supposed to act. This is how I'm supposed to, carry myself to get girls. I remember one time I came home from school with my pants sagging. My mom almost like slapped me back to school because she was like, Jimmy, if you walk through my door one more time with your pants below your waist, it will be the end of you. It will be the end of you. That's the difference. Some people have to accept their reality and be like, that's not me. I am not some hood kid. Yet some others will be like, nah, bro, I'm from the trenches, da da da. But yeah, you guys let me know. Is it fair to judge those people? Have you guys seen it? What do you guys think of cultural assimilation? Maybe from a different culture. I approached it from the African slash Kenyan perspective, what I've seen. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I do think people should assimilate, though. I'm not sitting here trying to say that people shouldn't assimilate to where they move to. No, absolutely. Get in, adapt, and all that. But at what point does it become trying to run away from your culture? At what point are you trying to get rid of where you came from just to fit in? And is that okay? You guys let me know in the comment section. Is there anything I left out? I don't think I did. Anyways, I will see you guys on the next one. I love you all, and bye.